Karen felt the room slipping away from her. This wasn't how community leadership was supposed to work. She was trying to help these people, to protect their property values and maintain the kind of neighborhood they could all be proud of. Why couldn't they see that? Fine, she said, her voice taking on a dangerous edge. If you won't accept reasonable regulations voluntarily, then I'll have to explore other options. She clicked to her final slide. Emergency powers protocol. The room fell silent as residents read the text. According to our community charter, Karen continued, in situations where community standards are threatened, the HOO president can implement temporary emergency measures pending a full board vote. You can't be serious, David Martinez said, his voice low and warning. I'm completely serious, Karen replied. Effective immediately, the pool is closed pending a full safety and compliance review. I'm also implementing a community-wide audit of all exterior modifications, landscaping choices, and common area usage. The silence that followed was deafening. Then, all at once, everyone began talking. This is insane. You can't close the pool. I'm calling a lawyer. We need to recall her. Karen stood at the podium, watching her carefully planned meeting dissolve into chaos. Parents were comforting crying children who just learned their summer swimming was over. Elderly residents were shaking their heads in disgust. Even some of the people who'd initially supported her strict approach were looking at her like she'd lost her mind. Maria Santos approached the podium, her face grim. Karen, you're making a huge mistake. This community elected you to serve everyone's interests, not to wage war against families. I'm protecting everyone's interests, Karen insisted, but her voice lacked its earlier conviction. Property values, community standards, basic respect. You're protecting your ego, Maria interrupted, and you're going to destroy this community in the process. As the meeting finally disbanded, residents filing out in angry clusters, Karen remained at the podium. She'd won. Technically, the pool would be closed, her authority established, her rules implemented. So why did she feel like she was standing in the ruins of something precious? Tyler paused at the door, looking back at her with an expression that was part pity, part disappointment. You know, Mrs. Westfield, we really weren't trying to cause trouble. We just wanted to swim. Then he was gone, leaving Karen alone in the empty community center with her PowerPoint still glowing on the screen behind her. Outside, she could hear car doors slamming, engines starting, neighbors talking in hushed, angry voices. Through the window, she caught a glimpse of the Martinez family walking slowly toward their car, the boy's shoulders slumped in defeat. For the first time since becoming HOA president, Karen wondered if she'd won the wrong battle. But it was too late now. The wheels were in motion, and Karen Westfield had never been one to back down from a fight. The real question was, what would she do when the community decided to fight back? Karen felt tears prick her eyes. You didn't have to do that, especially after everything. Karen, can I tell you something? Mrs. Chen's weathered hands folded carefully. I moved here from San Francisco 15 years ago. My husband had just died, and I was so angry at the world. I started fights with neighbors about property lines, complained about noise, called the city about every little violation I could find. Karen listened, recognizing something familiar in the story. I thought I was protecting my investment, maintaining standards. Really, I was just trying to control something in a life that felt completely out of control. Mrs. Chen paused. It took me 2 years to realize I was pushing away the very community I'd moved here to find. But the rules exist for a reason, Karen said weakly. Property values, community standards. Do you know what really maintains property values? Mrs. Chen interrupted gently. Happy families, kids playing, neighbors who actually like each other, a community people want to move to, not escape from. They sat in silence for a moment, watching through the window as more families packed up for another day at the distant public pool. Those boys, Mrs. Chen continued, Diego and Carlos and Tyler, they're good kids. A little loud, maybe, but good hearts. Tyler mows my lawn every other week, won't take payment, says it's just being neighborly. Karen felt something crack inside her chest. I didn't know that. There's a lot you don't know about this community, Karen. And there's a lot this community doesn't know about you. Mrs. Chen reached across the table and patted Karen's hand. But it's not too late to fix this. After Mrs. Chen left, Karen sat alone with the lasagna and her thoughts. She pulled out her phone and scrolled back through the Facebook comments, this time reading them differently. Between the anger and frustration, she could see hurt. Parents disappointed that their children's summer had been disrupted. Elderly residents who'd enjoyed watching the kids play. Families who'd been planning pool parties that would now never happen. She opened her laptop and began typing a new post for the community page. She deleted it, started again, deleted it again. How do you apologize for trying to help when your help had caused so much harm? Finally, she wrote simply, "Community meeting tomorrow, 7 p.m. Please come. We need to talk." As she hit post, her phone immediately began buzzing with notifications. Comments flooded in. About time. This better be good. Is she finally stepping down? I hope she's going to fix this mess. Karen closed her laptop and went to her bedroom closet. In the back, behind her business suits and HOA blazer, hung the simple sundress she hadn't worn since her divorce. She pulled it out, holding it against herself in the mirror. Tomorrow, she decided, she wouldn't dress like the HOA president. She'd dress like a neighbor. But first, she had some phone calls to make, starting with the pool maintenance company, to schedule an emergency reopening inspection. It was time to learn the difference between being a leader and being a dictator. The question was, would her community give her the chance to prove she could change, or had she already burned too many bridges? As the sun set over Maple Grove, Karen made her first truly selfless decision as HOA president. She began drafting her resignation letter, not to submit it necessarily, but to remind herself that her position was about service, not power. The real test would come tomorrow night, when she'd face the community she'd tried so hard to control and ask for something she'd never been good at requesting: forgiveness. Outside her window, the empty pool glittered in the fading light, waiting to see if it would ever again echo with the laughter of children on a summer day. Karen Westfield stood in her pristine kitchen, staring through her bay window at the community pool with the intensity of a hawk spotting prey. The morning sun glinted off her perfectly styled blonde bob as she gripped her ceramic mug so tightly her knuckles went white. 3 teenagers were doing cannonballs into the deep end, sending waves of chlorinated water splashing onto the concrete deck. "Not on my watch," she muttered, already reaching for her phone to document the violation. As the newly elected president of the Maple Grove Homeowners Association, Karen had made it her personal mission to restore order to what she considered a lawless community. The teenagers, she recognized them as the Martinez twins and their friend from down the street, were laughing and shouting as they performed increasingly elaborate jumps. Water cascaded over the pool's edge with each impact, creating puddles that would surely stain the expensive travertine tiles the HOA had installed just last year. Karen's fingers flew across her phone screen, typing furiously into the community app. Pool rule violation number 1. Excessive splashing. Pool rule violation number 2. Failure to use pool ladder. Pool rule violation number 3. Noise disturbance before 10 a.m. She paused, squinting at the scene. One of the boys was wearing swim trunks that hung below his knees, definitely against the appropriate swimwear clause she'd personally added to the community guidelines last month. Pool rule violation number 4. Non-regulation swimwear, she added with satisfaction. Her phone buzzed immediately. A response from Maria Santos, the previous HOA president whom Karen had defeated by a narrow margin of 3 votes. "Karen, they're just kids having fun. It's summer vacation." Karen's eye twitched. She speed-dialed Maria's number. "Fun?" Karen's voice climbed an octave. "Maria, we spent $12,000 on those tiles." $12,000. Do you know what constant water exposure does to natural stone? "I know what being 15 does to kids," Maria replied, her voice tired. "They need somewhere too." "What they need is supervision and structure," Karen interrupted, already striding toward her front door. "I'm going to handle this myself." She hung up and grabbed her official HOA clipboard, a leather-bound monstrosity she'd special ordered online. and marched across the perfectly manicured lawn toward the pool area. Her flip-flops slapped against the concrete with each determined step. "Excuse me," she called out, her voice cutting through the teenagers' laughter like a knife. "Excuse me." The boys stopped mid-jump, treading water as they turned to look at her. Diego Martinez, the older twin, groaned audibly. "Oh, come on, Mrs. Westfield. We're not doing anything wrong." "Really?" Karen flipped through her clipboard dramatically. "Because I have documentation of at least 4 violations in the last 10 minutes. She began reading from her list with the solemnity of a judge delivering a sentence. "Look, lady," said the friend, Tyler, she thought his name was, "we're just swimming. Isn't that what pools are for?" Karen's face flushed red. "This pool is for responsible community members who respect the rules that keep our property values high and our amenities pristine. What you're doing is destroying community property." "We're literally just swimming," Diego's younger brother, Carlos, chimed in. "My mom pays HOA fees just like everyone else." "Your mother pays fees so that everyone can enjoy these facilities appropriately," Karen snapped. "Not so you can turn our pool into some kind of water park." Tyler snorted. "A water park? It's a community pool. We're swimming in it. What's next? Are you gonna tell us we can't get wet?" The other boys laughed, and Karen felt her carefully constructed authority cracking. She pulled out her phone and began recording. "I'm documenting this interaction for the HOA board," she announced. "Your disrespectful attitudes will be noted in your permanent community records." "Our permanent community records?" Carlos repeated, incredulous. "Are you serious right now?" Karen was about to respond when Tyler, clearly fed up with the confrontation, executed the most spectacular cannonball she'd ever seen. The impact sent a wall of water cascading directly toward Karen, soaking her from head to toe. Her clipboard flew from her hands, papers scattering across the wet concrete like soggy confetti. For a moment, the entire pool area fell silent except for the gentle lapping of disturbed water. Karen stood dripping, her perfect hair plastered to her skull, her white linen shirt now completely transparent. The teenagers stared in horror, realizing they'd crossed a line they couldn't uncross. Tyler surfaced, his face pale. "Oh shit, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to." "Ew, you old bananity," Karen shrieked, her voice echoing off the surrounding houses. "I love you. Bandy from the POL. Bandy from the CLUBHOUSE. I'll have you bandy from the entire community." She began gathering her waterlogged papers, her hands shaking with rage and embarrassment. Several neighbors had emerged from their homes, drawn by the commotion. Mrs. Chen from Unit 47 was recording everything on her phone, and Karen could see Tom Bradley from the corner house shaking his head in disapproval, though whether at her or the boys, she couldn't tell. "This isn't over," Karen announced to the watching crowd, clutching her soggy clipboard to her chest. "I'm calling an emergency HOA meeting. These delinquents will face consequences." As she stalked back toward her house, water squelching in her designer flip-flops, Karen's mind was already racing with plans. She'd show them all what happened when you disrespected Karen Westfield and the sanctity of community rules. Behind her, she could hear the boys climbing out of the pool, their earlier bravado replaced by worried whispers. Good, let them worry. By the time she was done, they'd understand exactly who was in charge of Maple Grove. But as Karen reached her front door, she caught a glimpse of her reflection in the glass. Bedraggled and dripping, she looked less like an authority figure and more like a wet cat. For just a moment, doubt flickered across her features. Then she straightened her shoulders, lifted her chin, and stepped inside to plan her revenge. The war for Maple Grove had officially begun. 3 days later, Karen stood at the head of the Maple Grove Community Center, surveying her battlefield. She'd called the emergency HOA meeting for 7 p.m. sharp, and despite the short notice, nearly 40 residents had shown up, the largest turnout in the community's history. Word of the pool incident had spread faster than wildfire, and everyone wanted to see what Karen would do next. She'd spent those 3 days meticulously preparing. Her laptop displayed a PowerPoint presentation titled Restoring Order, a Community Action Plan. Her hair was once again perfectly styled, and she wore her most authoritative navy blazer, the one that made her feel like a CEO delivering a crucial board presentation. "Thank you all for attending this emergency session," Karen began, her voice carrying the weight of someone who'd practiced this speech in the mirror at least 50 times. "We're here tonight because our community standards have been compromised." Maria Santos sat in the front row, arms crossed, wearing an expression that could generously be described as skeptical. Next to her sat the Martinez family, both parents looking tired, the twins slouched in their chairs like they were facing a firing squad. "As you all know," Karen continued, clicking to her first slide, 3 days ago, our pool area was the scene of deliberate destruction and disrespect. The slide showed grainy screenshots from her phone video, capturing the moment Tyler's cannonball had sent water flying everywhere. "Mrs. Westfield," interrupted David Martinez, Diego and Carlos's father, "they were just swimming. Kids have been doing cannonballs since pools were invented." "Mr. Martinez," Karen replied, her tone icy, "your sons and their friend caused property damage, violated multiple community guidelines, and showed complete disrespect for HOA authority." She clicked to the next slide, revealing a detailed breakdown of pool maintenance costs. "Do you see this? Our pool maintenance budget has increased by 15% this year alone, largely due to excessive wear and tear. You can't prove that was caused by teenagers swimming," called out Janet Peterson from the back row. "Pools naturally require maintenance." Karen's eye twitched. This wasn't going according to plan. She'd expected the community to rally behind her leadership, to appreciate her dedication to maintaining their property values. Instead, she was facing what felt like an insurrection. "I'm not just talking about maintenance," she said, clicking through several more slides. "I'm talking about respect. I'm talking about rules that exist for everyone's benefit. When we allow some residents to flagrantly ignore community guidelines, we create a precedent that undermines everything we've worked to build here." Tyler's mother, Sandra, raised her hand. "Karen, what exactly are you proposing?" Karen smiled, finally reaching the heart of her presentation. "I'm proposing a comprehensive community improvement plan." The next slide revealed her masterpiece, new pool regulations, effective immediately. She began reeling from her list with the enthusiasm of someone unveiling a work of art. First, all pool users must now sign a waiver acknowledging community standards. Second, pool hours are reduced to 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. to minimize noise disturbance. Third, no running, jumping, or diving of any kind. Fourth, pool capacity is limited to 12 people maximum at any given time. Fifth, a rotating schedule will ensure equal access for all residents. The room erupted. Voices overlapped as residents began arguing simultaneously. "You can't be serious," shouted Mrs. Chen. "My grandchildren visit every weekend. They love swimming here." "This is ridiculous," added Tom Bradley. "You're turning our community pool into a museum exhibit." Karen raised her voice above the chaos. "Ordeal. We need order." She banged her gavel, another recent purchase, against the podium. "These measures are necessary to protect our investment and maintain community standards." "Whose standards?" Maria Santos stood up, her voice cutting through the noise. "Karen, you've been HOA president for exactly 6 weeks. You can't just arbitrarily change rules because you got splashed." "I didn't get splashed," Karen snapped, her composure cracking. "I was deliberately targeted and disrespected while performing my duties as an elected official of this community." "You were being a buzzkill to some kids who were having fun," Tyler called out, earning a sharp look from his mother but supportive murmurs from several other residents. 2 weeks after the emergency meeting, Karen sat in her kitchen at 6 a.m., staring at her laptop screen in disbelief. The Maple Grove Community Facebook page, which she'd created and administered, now had 847 members and counting. What had started as a small neighborhood group had exploded into something she no longer recognized or controlled. The latest post, shared by Maria Santos, had been up for only 3 hours and already had 156 comments and 89 shares. It was a photo of the community pool, now surrounded by caution tape and COSG NSP signs, with a caption that read, Day 14 of Karen's reign of terror. Our kids are spending their summer at the city pool 20 minutes away because one adult couldn't handle getting wet. Karen scrolled through the comments, her coffee growing cold, as she read increasingly creative insults about her leadership style. Someone had created a meme using her official HOA headshot with the caption, Pool Patrol Karen, making summer suck since 2025. It had been shared 43 times. Her phone buzzed. A text from her sister Jennifer in Phoenix. Saw your neighborhood drama on TikTok. There's a video with 50K views. You might want to lay low for a while. TikTok? Karen's hands trembled as she opened the app. Sure enough, Tyler had posted a video titled HOA Karen Closes Pool because teenagers had fun. The clip showed security footage from the community center, capturing Karen's dramatic entrance to the pool area, the cannonball incident, and her subsequent meltdown. Tyler had added hilarious commentary and sound effects, turning her moment of authority into a comedy sketch. The comments were brutal. Imagine being this pressed about kids swimming. This is why HOAs are evil. Someone please tell me this is fake. Poor kids just wanted to cool off. Karen slammed her laptop shut and stared out the window. The Martinez boys were in their driveway, loading pool equipment into their mother's SUV, probably heading to that public pool 20 minutes away. The sight sent an unexpected pang through her chest. Her phone rang. Board member Patricia Williams, one of the 3 people who'd initially supported Karen's strict approach. Karen, we need to talk. I've been getting calls all morning. About what? Karen asked, though she already knew. Channel 7 wants to do a story about our community. They're calling it HOA Horror Stories. When power goes too far. They want to interview you. Karen's blood ran cold. Absolutely not. I'm not talking to any reporters. That's probably wise, Patricia said quietly. Karen, I think we need to consider reversing some of these changes. The pool closure, the new regulations. People are talking about a recall election. Let them talk, Karen snapped. But her voice lacked conviction. I was elected to make tough decisions. You were elected to serve the community, not declare war on it. After Patricia hung up, Karen sat in the growing morning light, feeling more isolated than she'd ever felt in her life. She'd moved to Maple Grove 3 years ago after her divorce, hoping to find a place where she could belong, where her attention to detail and organizational skills would be appreciated. Instead, she'd somehow become the neighborhood villain. A knock at her door interrupted her brooding. Through the peephole, she saw Mrs. Chen from Unit 47, holding what looked like a casserole dish. Mrs. Chen. Karen opened the door cautiously. Hello, Karen. Mrs. Chen's voice was gentle but firm. May I come in? They sat at Karen's kitchen table, the casserole, homemade lasagna, between them like a peace offering. I brought you dinner, Mrs. Chen said. I figured you might not be eating well with all the stress.